Before the video begins, I'd like to give a shout out and thank you to the people on screen for supporting me on Patreon. Enjoy the video.
Hello and welcome to part 6 of Sega GT, and in this part we're going to be continuing where we left off with the Worx Cup. This time we're going to be moving over to the B class, which takes place at Sky Peak Hill. And of course, again, like before, we're going to go from top to bottom, and first up is DRS, Daihatsu Racing Service, which would mean the Storia. Now, the pole position would be $2,000. I'm not going to keep doing that. I just wanted to show it off once so you get the idea, basically. But the main thing that we're going to be aiming for, of course, is first place, which would give us the Worx car, and on top of that, $5,000. So, we have the Storia X4, and can we do anything to it? We can. Turbo boost. Not a whole lot of extra power. It does have more than any of the other E-Class vehicles, but about 176 horsepower at the most, and we're just going to, again, do all this up. Now, the Sky Peak Hill is a bit of more of a technical track. It is still a bit speedy, but since there are some more things to worry about, I think the extra downforce might come a little bit more in favors here, so let's see how we get on with the only E-Class vehicle of the group. Though, if I remember correctly, I do believe that the Storia, by this point in its Worx variation, is more configured to be B-Class. Even sounds more like a B-Class vehicle. And alas, we just leave all the rest behind. Yeah, pretty simple. Now, like I mentioned before in the last part, as you progress through these Worx Cups, the higher class you go up, the more laps you have to do per car, and like I said, it's true here. 3 laps now instead of just 2 for the E-Class vehicles. And yes, because it's a Daihatsu, it still has that white and red scheme that we had seen before with the Opti. Works a little bit more on the Storia, mostly just because it was also in Gran Turismo, so it's a bit more familiar. Yeah, we're not really worrying about much of anyone else. Looks like one of the cars in the group there kind of got away and putting a bit of a run down. Trying to get up to me, but, you know, still has a bit of ways to go for that. Especially since I'm not going to be giving up this position necessarily easily. I don't personally think they're going to be catching me anyways. Because I just tend to do better through a lot of these areas. Ooh, gotta be careful here. Alright, perfect, nice. Make it through there, and yep, that will just do that because it helps point the car, excuse me, in the right direction. That was actually pretty good through there. Oh, well, until the later portion of it, then that started to get a bit ugly. So yeah, these events will definitely be, you know, because of the extra lap and maybe longer, but as you can see, even with a full downforce and probably the least powerful of the group, I'm still beating the fastest lap there, so it's definitely no issue. But yeah, the story is very balanced, very composed, and, you know, does very well of a car, as you would expect. Oh god, I got a little bit of two-wheeling there. Nothing too serious, though. Again, just because it nearly got us in the right angle there. Took us a bit over to the right, but whatever. Yeah, that worked a little better. Again, just trying to trick that I did with that, the Opti last time in the previous part, kind of worked off here as well, too. As it's just now the straight line dash to the finish. Very nice. 54.478 was our fastest lap. Total record 2:52.526. Now, because there was that one other car that was back there, I'm curious to see if it will finish, and we can find out what car that exactly was. I have a suspicion, but we'll find out if it does manage to finish. Yep, it was about 20 seconds after, so it just managed to finish, and it was a Truno. Now, you might be thinking, unless you kind of saw the peak of it when I drove ahead of it, you might think it's similar to the car we did for Toyota in the B license. I would I would advise you to maybe rethink that, though, but as you will see. So, yep. But now we're using the Tuno next, because it's the next one down. So, how about that? So, yeah, look at this. 431 horsepower, 391 pound-feet of torque. Definitely makes our Storia feel quite puny in comparison. Again, full downforce. A car like this, I don't see why not. Just judging by the amount of power it makes. Nope, I don't want to quit. We want to just skip. Alright, there we go. Oh man, I'm going to be looking forward to this one just to see how how far I get from everyone. Yep, this is not the same kind of Tuno. This is based off the older Tuno. In fact, more specifically, this is an actual JGTC car from the 90s. There was a team that actually, I believe they were named BP Craft, and they decided just before the turn of the millennium that they were going to drive a Tuno as their GT300 car. It didn't particularly do successfully well, but the idea to bring such a old and popular car was so beloved that they became fan favorites, and the racing games of the time decided to capitalize on it by putting it in their games. Now, as you can see, this is where a kind of car like this, unfortunately, is where we start to see the main flaw of a lot of these later vehicles with so much power. They dislike bumps so much that they become nigh on uncontrollable to drive at times, as you saw there. So it's very weird that they use this for like the B classing, because the Tuno is very much, you can just see by the pace it goes, it's very much like an A-class Worx vehicle, you would imagine, and it's just paired with like B classes. And then you have like a Storia X4 that's just pretending to be a B class mostly. So yeah, here we're gonna want to just keep it in the 6th gear, because the lower the revs, the kind of easier we can keep control of this thing. But you can just see by the amount of by the amount of bumps and just how all off the rails it is, that the real problem with this game's handling becomes really amplified. You can just really see the problem. Because believe me, I'm not trying to purposely run into things constantly, but it's just, or have it go all hunky-dory, but with a car like this, that certainly becomes quite easy. At least the good thing is when you do have everything under control and you can keep it going at speed, you more than likely, you know, will run away with it. So I'm just trying hard to kind of keep some speed, but oh, angle's bad. Yeah, that was quite ugly, but whatever. And yeah, it's just doing that again because it gives me a really good angle. And it's going to be a dash finish. I'm not going to beat the total record because of that first lap crash, but hey, we're going to at least get a new fastest lap. 51.981, in fact. So yeah, the Tuno is basically a cheat vehicle for the B-Class Worx Cup. Bit difficult to drive, but when you get it down, it easily runs away with it. So, there's that. Anyways, next up we have is Nismo, which would be the Pulsar. But first, that's the wrong thing. We don't want to change parts, we want to change settings. As you see, this is a naturally aspirated car, so there's nothing we can do to improve its power. No boost. We can at least still give it tires and downforce, so we're going to still do that. And with that, let's just do our little thing here. And go! Now since we got the craziest car out of the way, all the rest of the vehicles will you know, both looked an awful lot more restrained again. But the Pulsar one's quite nice. It's kind of like a white, blue, and red design here. It's it's a very good color scheme, the white, blue, and red. Personally, I personally think white. If you had some white, if the white's like the main color, and it kind of works well. Blue and red, if it's just those two colors, yeah, it doesn't. I don't think they usually combine very well, but in this case, I think it's done pretty well. You got like the red more to the front, and then the blue more to the back, like this. And yeah, you can see the Pulsar definitely is not going at the same kind of pace that Taruna was, but it's a lot more controllable. Like, so I don't have to be afraid to feel like I can push it. Ah, that didn't particularly work out that time. Didn't do too badly, but you know, could have been better. But yeah, I would say this has definitely got more momentum than the Storia does. Can get over 130, but not quite. Obviously, not quite the same momentum that you get from the Taruna, obviously, because that's, again, it's like an A-class vehicle in a B-class in race. Again, just kind of cut through there a little bit. There we go, just get that, just make it so it's pointing the right way. And again, didn't quite pull it off. There we go. To the finish. Well, I say to the finish, I have one more lap to go. What am I saying? I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. I need to stop getting ahead of myself. But yeah, this car around here, despite having a 6th gear, with all that maximum downforce, it's not particularly gonna work out very well here. So it's best to just leave it in 5th gear. Oh God, kind of a bit crooked there, and that kind of put me on a terrible angle. Ooh, didn't want to hit that little kink there, but with the guardrail, managed to just avoid that, thankfully. Okay. Probably didn't need to shift back up to 5th so quickly, but I'll just deal with it. But yeah, no fastest lap, because this car doesn't have the same pace as the Taruna, but new total record, 249.829. Would have been a little bit better if I didn't screw up that final lap. That's fine. Still easily wiped the floor with the rest of the vehicles. It's a good thing the AI doesn't do the kind of pace that I would be able to normally do with the Taruna on a really good lap. Otherwise, this would be a lot trickier. But yeah, there we go. The Pulsar, and again, like I said, it has the blue in the rear and the red in the front. Looks quite nice, personally. And with that, that's halfway down, which means next we got is Mugen, which would be the Civic. Now, because it's a Civic, it's more than likely, yep, not going to have anything for turbo or supercharger, as to be expected. And so we're just going to do the tires there, and the downforce. So let's do that. And skip the qualifying as per usual, and get right into the action. Just 1 second. Just kind of dealing with something here. Okay. Now the Civic has a very Mugen-like design, which would make a lot of sense. What I would have really liked to have seen them do would have been to have like the Gather's Drider livery. That kind of like or like that really like kind of like an homage to the Mugen Multiple Civic Si from the late 80s. This one kind of has it a little bit, but not entirely. Got my line way off. That was quite a lot of ugly. Civic's a little bit on the understeery part, actually. I'm a bit surprised by that. Because it's a Type R Civic. The Type R Civics are known for being actually quite good handling front-wheel drive cars. Even the Integra especially is known for that too. But Yeah, it seems to be understeering. I'm kind of surprised by that. That's not what I was expecting this car to do, really. But apparently, that's what it wants to do, and so that's kind of disappointing. It doesn't even seem to really have that pace. Almost like the Pulsar, but it's a little bit slower, I'd say. It's kind of disappointing. I was thinking it would have been at least a bit similar, a bit similar to that Pulsar, but it looks like the Civic is slightly worse. But that's a bit of a shame. But hey, it's fine. It's at least still a decent car nonetheless. It's just maybe it could have handled a little sharper than it could have handled sharper than it does. Other than that, it's not too terrible. Certainly looks the part. Really nice livery. But we won't worry about that too much. We just got one more lap to go after this one, so will at least be a pretty decent lap here. About sub... Oh, maybe not. Almost very low 54-second time. I'd say that's pretty good, especially since I don't imagine the other two cars are probably going to be beating that 51.9 I got with the Truno, and that wasn't even a perfect lap with that Truno there, so... Again, though, the Truno is just, like I said, A-class Worx vehicle in a B-class Worx race, so... I guess they didn't really know what else to kind of do, because they're thinking, oh, well, you do use that A111 Truno, and there's no racing variant of that that we know of. Why don't we just use the BB Craft? That's a Truno. But yeah, but that's a GT300 vehicle. Put it in anyways. Pretty sure that's how the meeting went. Wouldn't be surprised. They're just like, oh, we have to put something in. There we go, sub 54-second lap right at the end. And a new total record, 249.329. Cool. So yeah, despite the could use a little bit sharper handling, we did at least still get a pretty decent run out of that. And there we go. This Civic Type R Worx car is ours. Still looks very nice, that livery, I must say. Alright, so 2 more to go. So now we got Mazda speed, which will mean we'll be in a MX-5 Miata, which might be interesting because, you know, it's a very light car. Again, no turbo or supercharger available with the car, so we just got to give it the tires and the downforce. I'm not sure why I'm doing this the slow way. There we go. And exit out of that. And I'm going to make about over $50,000 after... we're done this one, and we haven't even done any of the main races in the game yet. We're just still doing all the stuff that's in the license, so hey, it's gonna be worth it, at least. If I was actually doing all the qualifying, I'd have even more money. But, you know, I just wanted to do, these, get these races going so these parts don't be long or anything. Actually, it's just me. When the AI drives a Storia, it still sounds like an E-Class vehicle, because that definitely sounded like the kind of E-Class engine, but when I drove it, it had that usual B-Class engine sound. That's very weird. Oh boy, the MX-5 does have a bit of a slip. It's actually kind of interesting, too, because it's like, I'm pretty sure, depending on which version of the game you play, it would have the 3 different names. So, like, you know, in North America, MX-5 Miata. In Europe, just MX-5. And then in Japan, Roadster. If you look carefully on the rear bumper there, and if you can see it from the side, it actually says Roadster. It's got the Japanese name. So even though it's a Miata, even though the game tries to call it based on where you're playing this, it still sees it as the, because they don't actually change the livery, it still says Roadster. I don't think 6 gear is very useful with this car either, with all the downforce on, so... Them's that. But yeah, since we got like 3 cars that we couldn't tune like the turbo or supercharger, we'll have to see exactly how much power these things are making after we finish with this and then Mitsubishi. So... Whoa! Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, calm it down there. Please, calm it down. Okay. Yeah. It was kind of too low into fifth gear there, so I kind of downshifted a bit to try to help that. But yeah, sixth gear just got no momentum. So I wouldn't be surprised if it does have some momentum if you don't have downforce on, but you know, anything I can only imagine how much more slippier these cars, some of these cars would be if I didn't put downforce on them. So, you know, that's why I've been doing that. I mean, you know, sometimes I just gotta do what I gotta do. Alright, there we go, and down to the big straightaway for the finish. This isn't going to be as fast as that total record I got with the Civic. It doesn't have the pace, but still pretty good nonetheless. Only about 3 seconds off or so. But yeah, the Road Series is definitely the MX-5 or the Miata or whatever, however you call it. It's definitely not quite as good as some of the other ones, but it's not too terrible. I'd say it's probably still above the Storia. But, you know. And with that, we got Rally Art left, which would be the Mirage. Now, let's see if we can do anything with it. Nope. That's 4 vehicles that we don't know its total power and torque. It's only the Storia that makes about 170, and the Turuno, which makes like 430 horsepower. The other 4 are all an anomaly, to say the least. But hey, it's, you know, it'll just be more interesting when we actually get to get this done, so we can take a look. And yep, the Mirage again has the same like rally livery. I guess WoW really liked the this design because they used it with all the Rally Art vehicles. And I might as well spoil this now. Like I mentioned in part 4, if you play the North American, I think there's also the Japanese version of the game too. There's a GTO or 3000 GT twin turbo in place of the last SA class event, rather than the Clio that I had, and I was able to confirm what I said, that it does still take place at Night Section B, so they really did just replace the vehicle for the sake of, I guess, wanting to have something else for the PAL players and the PC players. Though, again, I would not recommend playing it on PC because it's got a myriad of problems on modern hardware. Apparently, according to someone who commented on YouTube on a video of someone who compared how the graphics look on the PC and the Dreamcast version, someone said it tends to look more closer to the Dreamcast version on hardware correct stuff like Windows 98 or ME or 2000. And that a lot of that stuff broke after Windows XP, and it's kind of been broke ever since. So, yeah. And whilst it is possible to get it running on modern hardware, it's not really worth it, because, again, the best way to play the game is still on the Dreamcast, so I would still recommend that be your pick, unless you have no other choice and you have to go PC. But, again, I would still just recommend going Dreamcast route. Also, this car actually does have a useful 6th gear, unlike the other earlier cars. It does about the same kind of pace as the it's close enough to as the Pulsar and the Civic. Handles quite well too. Not amazing. It kind of turned in a bit late there, but you know, I'd say it's at least a bit more snappier. It gets a better turning angle, I feel, than the Civic does. But yeah, what I was gonna say though is the GTO. Since you do Mitsubishi, there is a Worx Mitsubishi SA class car. It is still the GTO in that game. And it does actually have the same rally art livery, so they really just... So yeah, as you will see with the A-Class, they really just tended to like this livery a lot. So they just put it on all the rally art cars. Yeah, not particularly a very fast run there, but, you know, still did fine with the Mirage, so I'll take it. Of course, this was before the Mirage became that really small compact that makes, like, almost no horsepower and is built with basically the bare minimals in mind, because, you know, cost. At least it's good on fuel economy though. But there we go. There is the Worx variant of the Mirage. The livery does actually, to be honest, I quite like it on this car personally. So there we go. That's all the B-Class done. So let's go take a look at the power outputs of all of them. We got to switch over to another page here. So yep, here's the DRS Storia X4. 176 horsepower, 130 pound-feet of torque, weighs about 1,404 pounds, so still quite a light car. And yep, there it is, the BP Apex Craft Torino. I wasn't just saying A-Class is a joke because it's like it drives like an A-Class and a B-Class event. It actually is an A-Class vehicle that they put into a B-Class event. Yeah, 431 horsepower, 390 pound-feet of torque, weighs about 2,314 pounds. So yeah, there we go. This is where it gets interesting. The Nismo Pulsar Series VZR N1 version 2. That's a mouthful. 233 horsepower, 151 pound-feet of torque. That's all. Huh, interesting. Weighs only 2,063 pounds. Mugen Civic Type R makes 228 horsepower, only 144 pound-feet of torque. Wow. Does weigh under 2,000 pounds, though. So, you know, not bad. The MX-5, or the Miata, doesn't even make 200 horsepower. It makes only 196, 137 pound-feet of torque, only weighs 1,754 pounds, though. And the Mirage, 226 horsepower, makes 144 pound-feet, 1,865 pounds. This one's actually a bit lighter than I expected. But that's not that I'm complaining, though, but hey. So there we go. That is the B-Class Worx stuff out of the way, which means when we come back in part 7, we will be tackling the A-Class Worx Cup, so stay tuned for that. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and would like to check out more, why not hit that subscribe button? You can also come follow me over on Twitter and on Twitch, and if you want to support the channel, check out my Patreon link down below in the description. That's where if you give me a certain amount, that's where you can get a shout out at the start of the video. So thank you very much, and as always, I'll catch you all on the next one.